What's going on, guys? Your friendly neighborhood turtle hermit is back, and it's time to jump into the Sunday tournament held during week 5 of Smogon Tour 13. First round, I get paired up against the one and only Undisputed. If you've hung around Smogon long enough, you've at least heard of his name. He's got quite the resume. A former Smogon tutor and a participant of both the Smogon Premier League and the Smogon World Cup, just to name a few. He started making his mark back in 4th gen and continues to stay competitive even now. A very, very good player. He's using a team that I've faced on the PO ladder many times, and I haven't really struggled against it, but he knows this team very well. Enough of the intro, let's get into it. I'm going to be leading with Raikou. He's going to be leading with the ever-popular Heatran. I go straight to Gyarados, expecting Stealth Rock since Aura Sphere doesn't one-hit KO, and he is going to set up Stealth Rock. On the next turn, I decide to scout his next move by going for Waterfall, and I was hoping to see what his initial answer was to Gyarados. He actually goes directly into a Breloom. Waterfall does a decent amount, which not only gets me thinking it's the standard Sub-Puncher since Sub-C doesn't take that much, but that he might carry Stone Edge. Decide to scout for Stone Edge by going back to Raikou, but he surprises me by showing Leech Seed. So it looks like it's Sub-C, but with a more offensive EV spread. This is a good matchup for Raikou. Extra Sensory is tempting, especially against something like Breloom, but he's already shown Heatran, and this is Undisputed, so I'm pretty sure he'll switch. I predict Heatran to come in and go for Aura Sphere, and I catch him on the switch. Even if he stayed into Spore, Raikou has Lumberry, and Undisputed was scouting for HP Ice, I believe. This next turn confirms that. I decide to go for the KO with another Aura Sphere, but he reveals Dragonite, knowing I don't have HP Ice. And he probably wanted to make sure he could bring it in safely. I wanted to scout this set so I know what I'm dealing with. Based on what team members I've seen shown already, I decided to scout for Earthquake or Draco Meteor first by revealing Bronzong. He actually goes for Extreme Speed, attempting to finish Raikou off. The replayer doesn't show it, but Dragonite is Life Orb, so it's Dragon Dance. I decide to go for Stealth Rock, knowing that Fire Blast or Fire Punch doesn't one-hit KO. He goes back to Heatran, so it's possible Dragonite could still have Earthquake, and I decide to reveal Flygon at this point since I don't want Gyarados taking Stealth Rock damage unless I have to bring it in. Goes for Fire Blast, does 50%, so it's not Specs, which sounds weird, but some Choice Specs Heatrans have Stealth Rock, so Fire Blast still did quite a number, which turns out to be crucial later on. I'm pressured, so I immediately go for the KO with Earthquake, hoping to bluff a Scarf. He goes back to Dragonite, could have shown Draco Meteor, but I was thinking he might try to set up a Dragon Dance and Draco Meteor could miss, so I attempt to bluff the Scarf, go to Gyarados to get an Intimidate drop, but he double switches to Heatran. Looked like a strange play, but I believe he was predicting Bronzong to come in expecting the Outrage, so the double switch backfires on him. He's forced to go back to Breloom again. In hindsight, he might not have much to deal with Gyarados other than Dragonite, who has to be at +1 to beat Gyarados, so went for Waterfall again, and the cycle repeats itself. I go back to Raikou since I don't want anything else taking a Spore, but he Leech Seeds again. Should have went for Taunt with Gyarados since I would probably outspeed, but hindsight's 20/20. Raikou's pretty worn down, so I decide to fodder it and try to take Breloom out by showing Extra Sensory, but he goes back to Heatran, and I don't want Heatran getting any more health back, so I just go for Thunderbolt, half hoping Dragonite would come in and take an Aura Sphere, but Undisputed doesn't bite, and he fodders Heatran out. He brings Dragonite in on the free switch. I stick with the plan. I was pretty sure he would try to pick me off here, since it's not worth Dragonite taking damage just to get Leech Seed recovery from something like Thunderbolt, so I went for Extreme Speed to get damage on it, and he takes Raikou out. I bring Bronzong in on the free switch, and I was planning to just fodder Bronzong out since I didn't want it being set up fodder later on, but he just shows Outrage, and I decided to just show the payback because I didn't want to reveal my other 2 moves in case I needed to surprise him later, but he reveals Scizor on the free switch. I don't want it setting up a Swords Dance, so I go to Gyarados for the Intimidate, but he U-turns out to keep momentum. It looks like it's Choice Banded, so he reveals a Gengar, and because of that, Gyarados isn't going to be able to come back in, so I just scout to see what type of Gengar this could be. He finishes Gyarados off with a Shadow Ball, and Gengar's carrying a Life Orb as well, although the replayer doesn't show it. And this is a very bad situation. I don't have any other options for this Gengar other than Magneton, so I go to it. And I show that I'm Scarf and reveal the Thunderbolt. He's going to take advantage by bringing Breloom in on the free switch. And I'm in a tight spot. He's got this Breloom, a Scizor, and an unrevealed team member. I decided to go to Bronzong since if he spores, that's what I want to sleep, since Scizor needs to be gone for Tyranitar to sweep. He does spore. I now go to Flygon, expecting Breloom to put the sub up, which he does. The plan is to U-turn to break the sub, since based on the damage Waterfall did on turn 2, Flygon's got about a 75% chance to break it. I go for U-turn. I don't break the sub, so I cringed at this point since now something's going down to a Focus Punch. I decided to go to Bronzong, but this is where I kind of fell apart. I'm still saving Tyranitar, hoping to sweep, but with him having Breloom behind his sub and a Choice Band Scizor, I probably should have just sacked Tyranitar right here. He went for Leech Seed. He has nothing else to do now other than Focus Punch, and I need to keep my sleep fodder at this point, I figured. So I go to Flygon instead to sack that, and then I go back to Magneton to break the sub. Tyranitar would have been the better option on in either situation, but I go for Hidden Power Fire to break the sub. He Focus Punches again to take Magneton down, and now I reveal my last, which is Tyranitar. I decided to Ice Punch straight away since I didn't want to take a random unprotected Focus Punch by Dragon Dancing. That, and he has a Choice Band Scizor waiting in the wings anyway, but with Magneton gone and Bronzong weakened as it is, Scizor's free to sweep, but he stays in the Elite Seed just to scout what set I'm running to keep Scizor safe, though in case of a Fire Punch. But he now knows I'm running the Ice Punch Dragon Dance variant, so he brings Scizor in directly and locks into Bullet Punch, and he's going to finish the rest of my team off, and that's going to be the game. It was an excellent game overall. It was a bit frustrating for me, though, since I had never actually lost to that team with the team I'm using up until this point. That, and I really didn't want to lose on the first round of the tournament since I have a long history of losing round 1 in Smogon Tour, and I was really tired of it. But I guess it's a testament to how good Undisputed is. Anyway, I'll have to wait until week 8 to see if I can win the whole thing, which is the last week that the tour hosts 4th gen standard. But until then, guys, Chun is out. Peace.